Hi, all of you. Am I audible to all of you? Hello, dear all. Am I streaming fine? Okay. So, welcome all of you to Edukemy's first quick impressions on the 2025 prelims paper. We were expecting on the questions on some lines, and on some lines we have been succeeding, and some, of course, UPSC is always ahead of the times. UPSC always manages to surprise us in some way or the other. So this year also we see some surprises. Hi Pragati, hi all of you, Vivek, okay, Peppermint, okay, excellent. So I don't know what is your feeling. Did you all see the question paper, all of you? Did you all see the question paper? And what are your impressions? Let's see. What do your friends tell you? Is it an easy paper? Is it a moderately difficult paper? Is it a very difficult paper? आप लोग का impressions कैसा रहा है? Any inputs on that? And mind you, as the time progresses, as you realize, you talk to more people, you talk to more aspirants, the impressions will change. Some of us who have been telling us this was a easy paper, you find, oh no, it's not as easy. Some of us who have been predicting this to be a difficult paper will discover, no, it's not as difficult. So it's going to be a tricky one. Okay, Ananya says it is a factual paper. Prema says difficult paper, not easy. Yeah, Vivek, I think I agree with your point. The question paper has lot of familiar themes. That's my first impression. Okay, the question paper has lot of familiar themes. The question paper is coming from areas we have been expecting, but the way the questions have been framed, the way the depth they have been probing, that's really next world level depth they're probing. Like say all of us were expecting questions on EV, all of us expecting questions on lithium batteries, all of us expect questions on COP 28, 29. We knew we'll have questions on NATO. We did know we'll have questions on, as usual, economy, expenditure, budget, revenue, role of bonds. We were expecting questions on role of Gandhiji, non-cooperation movement. So in terms of the themes that they could have asked, I think the themes are very much on the predictable lines. But if you look at how they have framed the questions, I think some of the questions have been very, very interestingly framed. So if you ask me what is the overall, I think this paper is a typical example of what we call as an applied paper. The questions, the students who have been in my classes and who have known me, I always classify questions in terms of L1, L2, L3. L1 questions are the state questions, you should know. L2 questions are the questions which are based on interlinkages, and L3 are the applied ones. I think in this question paper, most questions were L3 and L2. A lot of questions are based on interlinkages and based on applied knowledge. They require some bit of understanding of the issues. So that's my first impressions. It's a new pattern. Yes, Gaurav. UPSC surprises you every time. Statement 1, statement 2. But statement 1, statement 2, I think is not really a new pattern. Okay, it's just that they ask you which of the statements 1, 2, 3. This time they have named it as statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. So Gaurav, I don't really think it's a new pattern in that sense. Okay, but yes, some of the surprises are like they have asked questions on sports after a couple of years. They've asked questions related to time zones after some time. They have never asked questions on calculations earlier. This time they're asking questions on calculations in economy. There are two questions where they're asking you to calculate something on deficit, something on revenue. That's a calculation. You have to do some addition, subtraction. That was a very, very unusual type of, rows and columns type, correct. So they have a modified version of the match the following type of questions. So that's what makes the paper so interesting. And one more thing, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, the first half of the paper, the 50% of the paper, the sections are very, very divided. Okay, like the first questions are on science and tech. Then we have questions related to environment. Then we have questions related to modern India. Then questions on geography. The first 50% is more divided. Uske baad, they are jumbling the questions. We have polity question followed by a couple of other sections. Then again we have polity questions. The other half of the question paper, the questions are jumbled up. Yeah. Yes, Vivek, you are right. Questions on sports, correct. But Devansh, sports was expected, although they were not asking. In fact, in our Edukemy Prayas paper, we have this full-length test that we have. We have asked some questions which are miscellaneous questions. We thought they can ask you. We did ask on chess. We did ask on kabaddi also, because this was the first Kabaddi World Cup. That's why. But yes, I was surprised that they've been asking scores of the matches. So that was an interesting one. Okay, so let's see how students ultimately appear and they are able to manage it or not. So that's my first impression. So overall, if I look at the question paper, I think the question paper is not an easy one. I still can't put my finger on how difficult it is. So in a grading of 1 to 10, if 5 is the moderate one, I think it is slightly on the higher side. At a grading of maybe 6, 7, but exact I can only tell after we have done a detailed analysis of the entire paper. So that's my quick important points. Budget, but yes, budget, database questions are important. How many of you, by the way, how many of you think the question paper was factual in nature? How many of you think the question paper was factual in nature? Because they've asked questions on the international year of something. So how many data was asked? So how many think it was a factual paper? Yash Patel, it was lengthy, absolutely, because the choices forced you to read the question paper in detail. The choices forcing you to think on the question. So I'm sure a lot of students will have a problem of finishing the paper. Okay. So if I take up the question paper now, more applied, yes, Kaushik, I agree, it's more applied one. The budget must be covered, yes. A challenging paper, absolutely. Okay, you think it was factual? Well, Dimansh, we can always agree on that. My assessment is it is not a factual paper, it is based on understanding of the factual data. Okay, it's not, see, one is they asked you concepts and leave it. Then they are mapping concepts with some facts. They're mapping concepts with some data. Okay, they want to see the depth of exactness of your understanding. So they have used facts, they have used data, but I don't think I'll call the paper as a factual paper. Like I'll not call the paper as a hardcore only data numbers. It is very applied. Okay, so if I take up the question paper now one by one, look at this question paper here. Okay, see, all of us, I'm sure, we're expecting questions on hydrogen energy, hydrogen fuel. We are expecting questions on batteries, but they've asked question on powertrain vehicles. The moment you say powertrain vehicles, you've gone into some kind of a depth now. Okay, so if I'm ranking these type of questions, I'll say in 1 to 5 this question is at a depth of about 4. Okay, similarly here, so we all expect questions they can ask on UAVs, but the way they are asking questions, all type of UAVs can do vertical landing. Okay, all type of UAVs can do automated hovering. All type of UAVs use the battery only as a source. This question, it's not simply about UAV. They've asked something around the technology of the UAV. Again, I'll say it's a difficulty level 4. Okay, 1 to 5 may. Okay, again, all of us know cobalt is important, lithium is important, graphite is important. We know something called as the critical minerals. But see how they have framed the question. They've asked about cathodes. In fact, a lot of students who are not from science background would have struggled to understand what does cathode mean. Okay, the cathode, anode, the positive and the negative points of a battery. Okay, where the role of lithium in particular, is lithium used as cathodes or is the lithium used as medium? So again, I think in difficulty 1 to 5, I'll call this as 4 type of difficulty. Cigarette butts. We know about nanoplastics. We know about plasticity very specifically. कि बताओ cigarette butts में plastics है या नहीं? Okay, same thing here. Coal gasification technology. Okay, so this I think of course is on the difficult level of 1 to 5 maybe difficult level 2 here. And look at this one. Chemical substances known as Cl20, HMX. I mean, you're talking about, again, applied one, applied fluorocarbons, applied explosive, applied high energy cruise missiles. So I repeat, the question is very, very applied. You cannot simply know a fact and move on. Okay, yes, correct. So in the difficulty levels, I say science and technology. Science and technology, say approximately 15 to 17 questions asked. And I think science and technology was a tricky applied one. And to be very honest, this was a paper that required some bit of science understanding. People from non-science background, people who do not have that scientific wala, say natural inclination, will be troubled here. Okay, so it was applied. And again, very importantly, almost all questions on science environment are related to current affairs. But current affairs, which is not mechanical current affairs, it's not current affairs, but aapko naam pata hai. Current affairs that again goes in depth. Current affairs that gets into some bit of detailed analysis. Look at these questions. What are monoclonal antibodies? Antibodies, viruses, I think is a common theme across paper now. But the way they're asking, that they're man-made proteins, okay, they stimulate immunological functions, and Nipah virus, we definitely knew Nipah virus. Okay, so virus as a theme continues. Again, virus, यहाँ पर भी antibodies है, यहाँ पर virus है. So something on biotechnology, it is on the expected themes. That's what I'm telling you every time. कि themes expected है. हमें पता था पूछेगा hydrogen fuel. हमें पता था पूछेगा on topics of plastics. We knew that they will ask us on critical minerals. We knew they'll ask us on virus. But the phrasing is very interesting here. Activated carbon. Okay, we are looking at activated carbon. Okay, very important part of your purification methods. Okay, activated carbon पे statements 1, 2. So one of you said this is a new format. Statement 1, statement 2. But I think ये नया format नहीं है actually. पहले क्या करते थे? They would ask you statement 1, write statement 2, and write statement 3, and then ask you, okay, whether 1 and 2, whatever. So this is not exactly a new format, but yes, the way they have asked the choices here, both 2 and 3 are correct. Okay, so this, in that sense, of course, will be a new format. So interestingly framed here. Again here, high emission. So cement industry is high emitter, aviation industry is high emitter, very high emitting industries are shipping industries also. So I think this was again on expected theme. The theme was expected, but again the way they are framing, set in 1, 2, 3. So this is, I think, a higher level of difficulty by that sense. Okay, COP28 में पूछना ही था, but then India not signing the Declaration of Climate and Health. Okay, to be very honest, this is one question I have taught in COP28, but I did not touch this particular topic. So I think it was my miss. I did not manage to pick up this one, a Declaration on Climate and Health. Okay, and again, I think ये एक favorite area हो चुका है UPSC का. They do ask on solar flares. They do ask something on this outermost energy, tremendous energy, polar ice. इस पे मिलाकर 2-3 सवाल हो चुका है. And interestingly, most of us think the solar flares are responsible for global warming. The solar flares are responsible for heat waves. It's not. Solar flares are more important for disruption of communication technologies. So if you read this, you read with something else. So it's rather than bombarding energy, they actually are bombarding those ions which impact the communication. So again, this is a theme expected wala hai. Okay, Paris Agreement, very interesting. Article 6 पूछा है, very specifically. Okay, Article 6, carbon strategies. Okay, so that's about, and I think the finance, climate finance thing, development finance, I think most of us do it. Again, the way they have framed it here, with a responsive institution for this one. Okay, so that air capture, UPSC maintains it that they will ask you one on species. This time they've asked on peacock tarantula, also called as Guti tarantula, and that it is habitat India and so on. So species wala question bhi पूछा गया है. So I have a quick list of what are the questions asked. By the way, did you all see the questions on history? Yash Patel says, yes, history was doable. Okay, did you all, what's the assessment on history paper? If I move on from here, what is your assessment on history paper? Okay, anybody? Yeah. So, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, modern India. Okay, we have questions on non-cooperation program. We have questions related to your ancient India. Here, Samudragupta, Fahian. So I think history paper, my assessment was, history was not as difficult. Unlike other years, when history questions used to be complete bouncers and people were telling us that history is no longer worth studying, that history is no longer good returns. But this question paper tells me that history was actually a doable section of this paper. Okay, अगर आपने ढंग से history कर लिया होता, okay, the basic again same themes, without going too much into a range of themes. अगर आपने ढंग से history कर लिया होता, history was a good return because these are very very answerable. Okay, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, non-cooperation. In fact, non-cooperation में दो question पूछा है, and even Gandhi जी से question पूछा है. Okay, these are I think some of the answerable questions. Chola empires again, Malay and the rest, Rajendra Chola. Okay, we have administration again, NCM. Non-cooperation movements, there have been two questions on this. Gandhiji's opinion. Yes, Gandhiji is a topic that they keep on asking. You're right. Okay, so I think my assessment of history paper. So if I analyze here, okay, your science and tech paper. Okay, science and tech paper. Okay, I think this was moderately difficult paper, and it was a very very applied paper. And happy to say that some of the themes asked in science and tech we have covered through our test series. But even then it requires application, science and tech. My assessment, okay, of environment topics, even current affairs, science and tech was also current affair based. And environment was also current affair based on the predictable themes. The themes were very very predictable. वही pollution theme है, वही theme plastics है, वही theme climate change and global warming है. The theme has been COP28. The theme has been related to dealing with problems of say plastic pollution problems. So themes are predictable, but if you look at difficulty, I think this was again moderate to difficult. My assessment, it was moderate to difficult paper for environment. History was among the easiest ones. Correct, Akanksha, you are very right. My personal assessment was history was the most. In fact, the next discussion was history paper jo hai. History paper, I think one of the most doable paper compared to the previous years. Modern India का weightage बढ़ा है. Okay, non-cooperation movement, Gandhi ji, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, उसका बढ़ा है. And history में good number of questions asked from Chola Empire. I think Chola Empire is becoming important because of the discourse that we have in current affairs also. But overall, I think okay, the Chola Empire questions were again expected lines pe the. Your assessment on the topics of AMAC, anybody? There are about 7 to 8 questions on ancient medieval art and culture. What is your assessment of AMAC questions, anybody? What do you think the AMAC questions? Very easy, they were doable. What's the assessment on this? Okay, fine, yes. And economy paper, I think, my personal guess is, the economy paper was doable, but okay, it was not a straight mugging up. Economy papers में से मुझे लगता है mistakes नहीं होना चाहिए था, because the questions were standard and 2 questions would have definitely trapped many of us. The questions were based on calculations. Okay, so we have देखो वही themes हैं. The themes have been again on bonds, hedge funds, Reserve Bank of India का source of income कहाँ से है, what is the organization, enforcement directorate, revenue intelligence, questions on agriculture activities, allied farming. Again, RBI say they have got 2-3 questions on RBI. Okay, and economy pe again come to bondholders. So bonds, revenue, deficit, okay, equity, okay, all of these are regulatory bodies hai ya nahi. Okay, so I think again the stock market, I think the economy questions were among the doable questions, provided the depth was a bit better, applied wale. And I think many students got trapped in questions related to jo calculations wale question. I think 51, it was a question on calculations. Okay, this one, question number 71. This was a question on calculation wala question tha, and question 75. You need some addition, subtraction. So I think this would have probably stumped many of the UPSC aspirants. Achha, now tell me, what was your impression on geography part? So we can see 6-7 questions on mapping, and we have another about 6-7 questions on concepts of geography. So what's your assessment? Let's see. Okay, mapping questions, agar aap dekhein, equator, lakes. This time they have added questions also on the time zones pucha hai. Okay, time zones, international date line, Siberia and parts of Alaska. So these were some of the interesting new type of topics they have asked, not asked earlier. So what is your assessment of geography paper, guys? Geography ka kaise aapka assessment hai? My analysis is geographical conceptual questions are very good questions. And I think if you have done the class notes, you should have got the geography conceptual questions right. Questions on continental drift theory, some on winds, ye aapka ho jana chahiye tha. Map questions were entirely, of course, based on the current affairs, okay, and it required some bit of practice on that. So my guess, if you ask me geography questions, questions, we had map-based questions. Geography, we had conceptual questions. Map-based questions were all current affair based, and this required some bit of practice, not mechanical. Mechanical memorization nahi hona chahiye tha. Whereas the conceptual questions, I think these are very, very doable questions. I'm happy to say that these questions, more or less, geography students would have got it right. Map-based questions, of course, requires. I was intrigued that one question, jo aapka pucha hai Tanganyika lakes pe. Say, if you look at Africa's map, if you knew that equator ke niche, we have got Lake Victoria. Okay, all the important Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nyasa, all of them are below equator. So that question would have been easily answered. Tonle Sap is Cambodia. And if you knew about the locations of the equator passing, touching, so if you look at equator here, this is the Malay Peninsula, iske baad aata hai Cambodia. This is somewhere Singapore, and this is where equator passes. So Cambodia to bahut north mein reh gaya. So if you had some practice based on maps, you would have again got that right. So overall, I think geography questions were again moderately difficult, although the applied ones were easier. Polity questions also were very, very doable. So if you ask me overall, my impression, guys, you tell me now, what is your impression? What do you think will be the cutoff for this year? Yeah, let's see. What do you think will be the cutoff for this year? What's your assessment? Cutoff? Yeah, I'll tell my assessment. What is your assessment of the cutoff? Nothing. The last time cutoff around 87 odd, okay, which was general, of course, for the other categories 83, 84 bhi tha. I think this year the cutoff will come down. It should not be as cutoff last time. 85, 90, Chava, maybe not. That's a very broad range. My guess is yes. Cutoff will be 80, 85 ki range mein hona chahiye. because this question paper will require a lot of application, presence of mind to answer. Cutoff 90, I don't think so, Tana. Well, of course, I can always be wrong after the assessment of bit more depth there. Tanishk, yes, I also think. So our prediction is that the cutoff should be in the range of 80, 85. In fact, I won't be surprised a cutoff 78, 79 bhi ho jata hai. I won't be surprised here. My assessment, the paper was on the difficult side. Okay, so in 1 to 10 ke grading mein, the paper was in the range of a 6 or 7. That's my assessment. Okay, the cutoff is going to be a bit more lower. Of course, even the CSAT paper will decide. Let's not forget that CSAT paper bacha hua hai. Okay, so if you had given the attempt, okay, Tanishk, Tana, Yash, Chava, Riya, agar aap log attempt diye hote, so can you tell me what would you have scored? What do you think your score would have been? I mean, just a wild guess will do here. What do you think your score would have been? Yeah, okay. Yes, I think, the first look of the paper tells me, students should pay more attention to the CSAT now. How to prepare? By the way, I could see at least 6 questions directly from NCERT. Okay, and this is just geography and some topics of, I think, polity wale. Okay. And if I link with conceptual ones, I can add another 2-3 questions of economy which are linked to NCERT. So I could count approximately around 10 to 15 questions which were NCERT based. But yes, this year I am sure current affair base ka thoda sa higher weightage raha hai, but not current affairs the way you are studying current affairs. Okay, guys, 55-60. Okay, Tanish. Okay, fine. So that's my first impression about the question paper. I do not know how this will pan up. Give us some time. We'll come back and discuss the detailed one also, with the answers, with the questions. We'll come back and tell you the details of some of the topics also. So thank you for joining me on this first impressions. I hope you should analyze on your own. Aap khud analyze karo and let me know, okay, what your assessment is. And please be in touch. We'll quickly update a lot of content in terms of what the scores and what the questions mean. Thank you for joining me. All the best. Catch you again soon. Bye-bye.